How did a tiny playing card company in Japan transform into the global gaming giant we know today? Nintendo's rise is full of surprising turns, smart decisions, and bold ideas. Want to explore the amazing story that reshaped the future of gaming? Let's take a look. The story of Nintendo's rise to fame is a fascinating journey that stretched back over a century. Most people know Nintendo today for its beloved video games and characters like Mario, Zelda, and Pokémon. But its roots go much deeper, with a surprising start of a completely different industry. Nintendo was founded in 1889 by Fusajiro Yamauchi in Kyoto, Japan. Back then, it wasn't making video games, it was making playing cards. The company produced handmade Hanafuda cards, a traditional Japanese card game that was popular at the time. For a long time, Nintendo was a small company focused on a specific group of customers. During the early 20th century, the company grew but faced many challenges. At one point, they tried expanding into different areas, such as running a taxi service and even operating a love hotel. None of these ventures worked out, and Nintendo continued to rely on card games for its revenue. In 1956, Hiroshi Yamauchi, Nintendo's president, traveled to the US to meet with the United States Playing Card Company, the country's top playing card manufacturer based in Cincinnati. He expected to see a large, successful company, but when he arrived, he was surprised to find that this huge business was working out of a small, modest office. This visit was a real eye-opener for Yamauchi. Seeing the world's biggest playing card company operating in such a small scale made him realize that there was a serious limit to how far the playing card business could go. No matter how successful Nintendo became in this industry, it was always limited by how big the market was. This moment was a major turning point for him. He understood that if Nintendo wanted to grow and become something bigger, it needed to explore new industries beyond playing cards. This revelation played a big role in pushing Yamauchi to eventually shift Nintendo's focus towards toys, electronics, and eventually video games. A move that would lead the company to become the global entertainment giant we know today. In 1963, Hiroshi Yamauchi decided to rename the company from Nintendo Playing Card Co. Ltd. to simply Nintendo. With this new name, the company started to explore different business opportunities using fresh capital. Nintendo tried a variety of ventures, including partnering with two other companies to launch a food business that sold instant rice, creating a vacuum cleaner, and even making a product called Territory, which later became a minigame in WarioWare Incorporation in 2003. Unfortunately, most of these new business attempts failed, except for toy making. Nintendo had some prior experience with toys through their playing card business, and this ended up being the only successful path. By 1964, Japan's economy was booming, especially with the excitement around the Tokyo Olympics. However, the playing card market had reached its limit. Japanese households stopped buying cards, and as a result, Nintendo's stock value dropped from 900 yen to just 60 yen. It was a challenging time for the company, showing that it needed to continue evolving to survive. Things started to change when Hiroshi Yamauchi, the great-grandson of Fusajiro, took over as president in 1949. He had big ambitions and wanted to transform the company into something far greater. He explored the idea of entering the toy market and even dipped into early electronic games. So now the question arises in your mind, how did Nintendo enter into the video game space? The real turning point for Nintendo came in the 1970s. Video games were becoming an emerging trend, especially with the success of arcade games like Pong and Space Invaders. Nintendo saw an opportunity and decided to enter the industry. In 1977, they developed their first home console, the Color TV game, which was exclusive to Japan. While it wasn't a massive global hit, it laid the groundwork for what was to come. The company's first major success in video game came with the arcade hit Donkey Kong in 1981. This was the game that introduced the world to the character Mario, though he was originally just referred as the Jumpman. Donkey Kong was a huge success and it helped Nintendo make a name for itself in the video game industry, but this was just the beginning. We all love Nintendo. What do you know about the rise of the Nintendo Entertainment System? The true turning point for Nintendo came in 1985 with the release of Nintendo Entertainment System, known as the Famicom in Japan. The NES was more than just a gaming console, it was a revolution. At the time, the video game industry was struggling after a major crash in the early 1980s. Poor quality games had flooded the market and consumers had lost interest. Nintendo, however, brought a fresh approach. They focused on creating high-quality games and innovative experiences that made people excited about video games again. One of the key games that helped the NES become a household name was Super Mario Bros., released in 1985. This game wasn't just a simple arcade game, it was fully fledged adventure with different levels, worlds, and challenges. Super Mario Bros. Became a global phenomenon, and Mario himself quickly turned into a face of Nintendo. The NES and its library of games, including the hit of Legend of Zelda, Metroid, and Mega Man, helped Nintendo dominate the video game industry throughout the late 1980s. Nintendo didn't stop with just home console. In 1989, they introduced the Game Boy, a handheld gaming system that would go on to change the world. It came bundled with the game Tetris, which became a cultural sensation. Unlike other handheld systems, the Game Boy was affordable, portable, and had a long battery life. This made it an instant hit with kids and adults alike. The Game Boy was also a birthplace of another iconic Nintendo franchise, Pokémon. In 1996, Pokémon Red and Blue was released in Japan, followed by the global release in 1998. The Pokémon games became an instant hit, leading to a massive media empire that included a TV show, trading cards, movies, and more. Pokémon remains one of Nintendo's most profitable franchises to this day. The company was not alone in the race. There were many rivals and competition. Throughout the 1990s and early 2000s, Nintendo faced increasing competition from other companies like Sega, Sony, and eventually Microsoft. While Nintendo remained successful with the release of consoles like Super Nintendo Entertainment System and the Nintendo 64, rivals like PlayStation and Xbox took some of the spotlight. Nintendo remained true to its philosophy of focusing on fun, family-friendly games rather than raw hardware power. The release of the Nintendo 64 in 1996 introduced some of the most beloved games of all time, including Super Mario 64 and The Legend of Zelda or Ocarina of Time. These games set new standards for 3D gaming and have been praised as masterpieces. However, the early 2000s were a bit rough for Nintendo. The Nintendo GameCube, released in 2001, faced stiff competition from the PlayStation 2 and the Xbox. While it had some great games like Super Smash Bros., Melee, and Metroid Prime, it didn't sell as well as its competitors. Nintendo bounced back in a big way with the release of the Wii in 2006. The Wii introduced motion controls, allowing players to physically interact with the games in ways that hadn't been done before. It was a massive hit, especially with casual gamers and families. Games like Wii Sports became a cultural phenomenon, getting people of all ages, from young kids to grandparents, involved in gaming. The Wii sold over 100 million units worldwide, making it one of the best-selling consoles of all time. This success cemented Nintendo's reputation as a company that could think creatively and deliver new gaming experiences. Now you ask, what about the recent success of the Nintendo Switch? Nintendo's current console, the Nintendo Switch, released in 2017, combines the best of home consoles and handheld gaming. The Switch had been incredibly successful due to its versatility and a strong lineup of games. Games like The Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild, and Animal Crossing New Horizons have been big successes, attracting both longtime Nintendo fans and new players. The Switch continues to perform well, with millions of units sold worldwide, and it shows how Nintendo keeps adapting to the changing world of gaming. Nintendo's rise in popularity is largely due to its focus on fun and innovation. While competitors often focus on graphics and processing power, Nintendo has always prioritized creating games and experiences that are enjoyable and accessible to everyone. Nintendo's revenue for the financial year ended in March 2024 was just over $11 billion, which is about $1 million less than the previous year. This drop is part of a steady decline that began after hitting a high of around $16 billion back in 2021. They're working on an animated Super Mario movie, which is set to come out in 2026, and they're also collaborating on a live-action film based on The Legend of Zelda. From humble beginnings to gaming legends, their journey is far from over. So, what's the next chapter in Nintendo's epic story? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more related content. And ring that bell. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next video.